movie begins in Liege, Belgium, where a suspected terrorist named Dormoff is making a regular trip. It turns out that there's a DIA agent named Marino inside the train keeping an eye on Dormoff. We see Henry Brogan, an elite Marine scout sniper, who marks his position and prepares to kill Dormoff, who is his target. However, Marino tells him to wait when he spots a kid approaching Dormoff. Despite this hindrance, Henry is able to eliminate the target without hesitation. Marino takes a video of the aftermath and shows it to Henry, but he tells him to delete the video. After that, he meets his handler Dell, and reveals that he's decided to retire from his life as a killer. The next day, Henry goes for a solo fishing trip, and meets a girl named Danny at the boat rental shop. They exchange pleasantries, after which Henry enjoys his fishing trip. In the middle of his holiday, Henry meets an old friend named Jack, who helps him onto his boat. It turns out that he has bad news for Henry, because it seems that Dormoff was not a terrorist, but rather a molecular biologist, who was working for Gemini, a rogue military group. Henry doesn't believe this, but Jack reassures him that his source, Yuri, is legitimate. Unbeknownst to them, the director of Gemini, Clay, is spying on their conversation, along with Henry's ex-boss, Lassiter, who are in cahoots with each other. He wants to kill Henry because his cover is blown, and he needs to do damage control. But she denies him the permission to do so, because she wants to clean up her own mess. On his way back to the shore, Henry finds a bug in his boat, so he confronts Danny for spying on him. However, she maintains that she's only a marine biology student, despite the constant interrogation. After some back and forth, Henry apologizes and offers to take her out on a date, to make it up to her. But at night, he shows up for the date with a legitimate ID proof, and exposes Danny for being a spy who's tracking him. Danny accepts defeat, and then they have a nice date together. Later, Jack gets killed by Lassiter's agents, and an alert gets sent to Henry, who wakes up from a childhood nightmare where he's drowning. Realizing that he's in trouble, he gets to work and hides in his basement. He calls up Marino to alert him about the agents, but it's too late as he hears gunshots over the phone. Henry swiftly uses his sniping skills to kill the agents reaching his place, and then he rushes towards Danny's place. She doesn't have any idea about what's going on, so Henry figures she's also going to be killed, in order to tie up loose ends. Now, Danny goes to pack some stuff, but gets caught by one of the agents. Luckily for her, he takes her very casually, and it allows Danny to dominate him after a brief struggle. After this, Henry and Danny get into a boat, and leave their lives behind. Clay learns about this failure, so he scolds Lassiter for being careless. He declares that Gemini is going to handle the situation now. She seems skeptical at first, but Clay reassures her that he's got the perfect man for the job. Now, Henry and Danny enjoy a meal at a beach, after which they spot a plane arriving towards the shore. It turns out to be Baron, who's a close friend of Henry's and has a secret hideout spot. He takes the duo to his hideout, from where Henry calls up Dell and confronts him for setting him up. Dell reveals that Gemini is behind this mess, and reassures Henry that he's on his side. Later, Henry tells Danny about his first time with Clay as an agent. He almost drowned to death during this experience, owing to his fear of water. After a peaceful night's sleep, Henry wakes up and spots a sniper on the roof. He alerts Danny and Baron about it, and makes his way outside to confront his opponent. A tense scene follows, as Henry goes head to head with this mysterious sniper. He gains the advantage, and has a clear shot, but fumbles when he realizes that the sniper, codenamed Junior, looks exactly like a younger version of him. The doppelgangers continue their game of cat and mouse, till they finally have a brief chat with each other. Junior is shown to be cold and relentless, despite Henry saying he doesn't want to kill him. A brief shootout follows, after which both men get into a thrilling bike chase. A lengthy sequence follows, which is filled with thrills. After all the chaos and commotion, Junior gains the advantage, and knocks Henry off his bike. Junior proceeds to thrash his opponent, and Henry struggles to keep up with him. Luckily, the local cops show up, so he readily surrenders, while Junior makes his escape. Later, Danny and Baron show up as diplomats, and get Henry released from jail. The team needs to escape, because Baron's house has been exposed. They figure that they need to talk to Yuri about Dormoff, so they take a private flight to Budapest, Hungary. Danny treats Henry's wounds, and wants to know if he ever had an illegitimate child, but he avoids the conversation. Meanwhile, Junior shows up in Clay's house and it is revealed that he's somewhat of an adopted son. He expresses amazement over Henry's skills, but is simply told to complete his mission at all costs. The next day, Junior witnesses a training program, and then Clay informs him that Henry is in Budapest. Upon reaching the city, Danny contacts her friend and gives her DNA samples of Henry as well as Junior, which she had taken from the earlier fight scene. The samples come back as identical, so Danny tells Henry about it, and they figure that Junior is his clone. This is highly confusing for Henry, so he rushes to meet Yuri, to learn more about what Clay is pulling off at Gemini. Here, we learn that Clay is heading a cloning program, and Dormov was one of the scientists who helped create Junior. Yuri explains that this cloning program can make the clones devoid of any emotion or pain, and then he leaves without offering any further advice. The team realizes that Danny is still a valued DIA agent, so they contact Lassiter and threaten her to do as they say. Henry eventually convinces her to send Junior to come collect Danny, so that she can be taken back to the US. At night, Henry flirts with Danny for a bit before sending her to Junior. Upon meeting her, Junior asks Danny to strip and checks her out for wires and bugs. Once he's satisfied, he calls Henry and orders him to meet at a location of his choosing. He takes a cab with Danny, and then they get to their spot, but she tries her best to convince Junior that Henry is a good man. She's also a bit more talkative than usual, and narrates everything Junior is doing, so he tapes her mouth. Suddenly, he hears an explosion and goes to check it out with his night vision mask. It turns out to be Henry, who tricks Junior and kicks him down to the floor, among skeletons and skulls. Now, Henry takes Junior to Danny and frees her. It's revealed that she was carrying a bug inside her mouth, and was talking to him this whole time. Henry tries to get some information from Junior, and is able to trigger him by calling him a clone. To add further proof, Henry also points out all the similarities between them, and it makes Junior doubtful. However, he gets pissed when Henry starts to insult Clay, so he knocks the gun out of his hands, and they get into a fierce fight packed with punches and kicks. Danny takes the gun and loads it up, but Henry tells her not to shoot at Junior. The tide keeps shifting between the men during the battle, but then they fall into the water where Junior gains the upper hand. He chokes Henry and almost succeeds, but then Danny shows up and shoots him in the shoulder, to save her partner. Junior floats away, while screaming that he's not a clone, and then Danny takes Henry to Baron, who takes the duo to Georgia. Later, Junior confronts Clay about cloning him, and finally lets out his emotions. Clay acts cold and composed, and tells his son that he's given him love and attention, which is something that Henry never had. The conversation makes Junior emotional, so his fake dad gives him a hug. Later, Henry and the team make it to Georgia, but Junior gets the drop on them and shoots Henry with bee venom. He struggles against the venom due to his allergies, so Danny begs Junior to help him out. Luckily, he reveals that he only shot Henry to be sure that they are the exact same person, because he also has the same allergies. Junior gives Henry the antidote to the venom, and then he reveals that the DIA had a chip implanted into Henry's body during a surgery 3 years ago. This was how Junior was able to locate him so easily. He removes the chip and decides to team up with Henry, so that they can take down Clay once and for all. The doppelgangers bond a bit over their parents, but then Junior gets a call from Clay warning him to jump out of the car. Suddenly a missile hits the truck, and everyone gets out, except Baron, who is killed in the explosion. Clay shows up with his agents, and it seems as if he's also brought a bioweapon soldier equipped with a deadly battle suit. The agents start firing at Henry and Danny, while Junior runs away. He reaches Clay and confronts him for mistreating Henry. However, he remains unmoved, and gets into a fight with Junior, while his agents face off against Henry and Danny. A thrilling sequence follows, wherein our heroes kill some of the agents, while at the same time, Junior fights his pseudo-father. He eventually defeats Clay after a good fight, and then he goes to kill the remaining agents. Junior unites with Henry and Danny, but the bio-soldier orders him to kill the team, so he rushes to the scene. He faces off against the trio in brutal fashion, and dominates, thanks to his skills combined with his armor. He makes life difficult for the team, and even their best moves aren't enough to take him down. They even try setting the soldier on fire, but he doesn't seem to feel any pain. Luckily, Junior uses his shockwave gun to finally put him down for good. In a shocking twist, when the team takes off his mask, the soldier is shown to be yet another clone. He eventually dies in front of the team, after which Clay shows up. He tries to reason that his method of producing clone soldiers is the most humane way of dealing with war, because these soldiers don't feel pain or emotion. Junior doesn't care for Clay's methods, and is about to kill him, but Henry stops him, because he knows he won't recover from the trauma of murdering his dad. However, he kills Clay himself to settle the score. Now that all the drama has been dealt with, Henry meets with Dell, to confirm that there are no other clones in hiding. Then, he catches up with Danny, after which they meet Junior, who is finally living a normal life in college under a new name. The trio has a laugh, and then Junior assures them that he's going to turn out fine. Henry, Danny and Junior walk together towards a new future. The end.